Thank you guys so much for being here. I see Rebecca is in the house. Carrie is in the house from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Heather is in the house from Cincinnati. Philip's in the house. Come on, Smile Project. I love it. Chuck from Sims Online. Bookkeeping. Come on, somebody. We got a little bit of everything, okay? I love it. Y'all, we are talking about one of my favorite topics today, and it is events, okay? So many people are talking about, I don't know about events. We're not doing events no more. I don't want to spend too much money on. You know what? We're not here for the naysayers. And I hear what you got to say, but I'm telling you, there is power when you bring your people together. Don't you just feel the energy in this chat right now? I know Edwin is feeling the energy. Maria's feeling the energy. Nikki's feeling the energy. Who else is feeling the energy? I want to see it in the chat. Francis is feeling the energy. Who else? Mike is feeling the energy. Megan's feeling the energy. Edmund's feeling the energy. Helen's feeling the. That's what I'm talking about. There is power when you bring your people together. And today we're going to talk about all of that and some, okay? And what better way to bring people together than in a little event, or should I say a party in the USA, okay, somebody? Y'all, if you don't know me by now, my name is Floyd Jones. I'm the host who gives you the most. Come on, somebody. I'm based out of New York, New York. I love working with the grassroots organizations. And y'all, I just got back from Cape Town. Like yesterday. Like, can you see? I'm just trying to get my eyes together. People talking about jet lag. I'm like, well, you know what? Life didn't care about my jet lag. So here we are. But I literally just touched down from Cape Town. I miss the South African breeze. Okay. I had the best time. Shoot me a DM if you need some restaurant suggestions. I think we went into a restaurant every day. Okay. My waistline it tells me that I did that, but it's fine. Okay. But y'all, I'm super excited to be here with you all and to get into these details. Y'all already know someone is bound to ask, will the recording and slides be sent? I want to see in the chat. Are you going to get the recording and slides after this? I want you to type a big yes in here, okay? Because you know, thank you. So when your friends ask if the recording will be sent to y'all, let them know. Yes, indeed. Please use the Q&A. We're going to have a lot of different questions today. Listen, you're in for a treat. If you've never heard from Samantha, hey, the Samantha, let me tell you, you are in for a treat, and you're going to have all the notes, and I'm sure even more questions at the end, so get ready. Use emojis. You already know. When I talk, I need you to talk back, okay? We're in this together, people, so make sure you use that comment and chat so that we can go in. And then, obviously, we're one big Givebutter fam. We already did our welcome and introductions. We're going to do all the event fundraising and live Q&A. And y'all, I got to ask, who is in the Givebutter fam? Who is in the Givebutter fam? Are you in the Givebutter fam? I want to see a big yes because it goes down in the Givebutter fam. Morgan's in the fam. Monica's in the fam. Jessica's in the fam. Ellen, Becky, Luana, Darcy, Karen, Megan. Come on now, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all, we're giving away grants in that fam. We're giving away tips. We're giving away tricks. We're doing Q's and A's. You name it, it happens, and it goes down in the Facebook fam, okay? So someone from our team will drop the link, but if you don't know about the Givebutter fam, make sure you join today. Y'all, if you don't know who we are Givebutter, okay? We are your all-in-one fundraising solution. Everything you need from donation forms, fundraising pages, events, auctions, CRM, marketing and engagement. We got so much more, and y'all, we are doing it all for gratis, free 99, okay, somebody? We believe in seeing you be the best version of yourself, so that way your nonprofit can be the best version of itself and your community can see and step into the best version of themselves. Come on, somebody. And we are doing it all for free. We're the #1 rated. Don't just take our word for it. Take G2, look up us online, and you will see it, okay? But y'all, one of my favorite segments of Givebutter and our webinars is when you get to hear exactly what is happening on the product. So I want to bring up the #1, the greatest, our head of education. Come on, Miss Claudia Segura. Welcome, Claudia, to the stage. Hello, Claudia.
It is such a treat to join you today, Floyd. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudia. I am our customer education manager here, and today it's all about fundraising events, so let's break it down. Whether you are hosting a virtual, in-person, or hybrid event, Givebutter has everything you need. We offer both free and paid ticketing options, and Givebutter empowers you to integrate donations during the ticket purchasing experience, so your supporters can simply make a donation right on your event campaign, even if they can't make it to the special occasion. And if you want, you can go on and inspire in-person giving on your big day using our live display feature. So as you can see here on the slides, it showcases a real-time supporter feed of donations, donor names, and the progress towards your goal on any screen that you share this on at your event. It also shares convenient donation channels. So this includes text to donate, scan to give, even those short code options here to ensure easy giving from anyone, anywhere. And with our Givebutter mobile app, you can check in your guests, accept payments, and review donations on the go here. And that is compatible with both iPhone and Android here. Now, the icing on top, and what I love to share, is that you can add an auction to any Givebutter event campaign easily. So if you have any questions about those fundraising events you are planning, drop that in the Q&A. We will be more than happy to answer. Now, my friend Floyd, can you take it to the next slide, please?
I will, but one quick thing. First of all, can y'all see in the chat, Jennifer Shaw just said, we just did our first ever silent online event auction and it went so well. I am loving Givebutter. Jennifer, we are loving you. I promise we didn't coordinate with Jennifer in advance. This is all organic, okay? But y'all get into this. We're going to talk about all about how you elevate your events this year, but talking about things like having a live stream display directly updating in real time that you can put on your page, right? We're talking about a mobile app, okay? We're talking about a mobile app. Now you don't have to go and figure out no spreadsheets or anything or doing all the little cross checks that y'all did before. It can all happen technology. We are on your team to help you reach the next level. I love it. What we got next, Claudia? What's up next?
Let's emphasize being on your team here. So Givebutter offers this wonderful Givebutter Academy here. So if you're new to Givebutter or just need a refresher, we all do sometimes, this is our selection of self-paced courses. So we have video courses on how to get started fundraising. We have courses on how to help you launch your event or auction of your dreams, how to raise more for your mission using our unique donation forms. And what I love to brag about is that this is completely free to all of you. As long as you log in with your Givebutter account, you can visit academy.givebutter.com. And a little teaser here, keep an eye out because we will be launching more courses soon on fundraising pages, recurring donations, corporate matching gifts, and fundraising events. So we have you covered. And Floyd, I have one more slide to share, and this is a fabulous product update if you wouldn't mind going to the next one.
I will. And y'all, first of all, can we just talk about how amazing Claudia is? I know you got your little flowers in the chat, but I want to emphasize, if you think Claudia is great now, imagine having an entire course with Claudia, okay? If y'all don't know how good this is, you're about to be in for a surprise and a treat, okay? Get into Givebutter Academy. Talk to us, Claudia. What else?
Yes, absolutely. So we know growing your email list and keeping supporters engaged is a key ingredient in any fundraising strategy. That's why we are so excited to share our new sign up form widget. Now, this is going to help you build a contact list of supporters who are actively looking to receive updates about your organization. So now with Givebutter, you can turn those subscribers into supporters. So I definitely encourage you to go on and embed that sign up form into your website today. If you have any questions, we have a support team that's always happy to help.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Y'all, can we just give it up for Claudia in the chat? Okay, listen, give it up in the chat because Claudia is where it's at. Okay, somebody, thank you. Also, I love the idea of turning your supporters into subscribers. Now you can keep the conversation going long and for the long term. So I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Claudia. We'll see you very soon, okay?
See you, Floyd. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. I have a special offer for you. Listen, Givebutter, we give back, okay? Don't say we don't give y'all nothing because we are always here for y'all, okay? We have a very special offer. We are so thankful to Samantha and Swaim Strategies because we have a special offer. We are going to talk to you all about the great, amazing events that you're going to do today, but we have an offer to take it to the next level, okay? Every single year, the premier event conference called Elevate, a conference for fundraising events, is hosted, and you can join virtually or in person. And y'all, we are giving away a free virtual ticket to the 2-day event. Can you say free? I know I can. If you are interested and you are interested in doing this, we're going to be giving away one ticket at the end of this session, okay? So I want to see if you're in. I want you to type I'm in the chat. I want you to type I'm in. Don't be talking about I'm in and you can't go on March 12th and 13th because you know we're going to have a bone to pick, okay? Don't tell me I'm in and you don't be in. We want to see who's in. Oh, Lord, everybody's in. Okay, great. Well, make sure you stick around to the end because we're going to be giving away one free ticket. All right. With no further ado, I want to bring up the one and only Samantha Swaim. Y'all, Samantha is from Portland, Oregon. She's a fundraising event consultant and coach, and not y'all, one of the best. Let me tell you, one of the best. If you haven't checked out this podcast, let me tell you, her podcast is the place to be. I might say so myself because I was on one of those episodes. Thank you. But it's so much in depth, and you do not want to miss it. And she just returned from a food tour in Mexico City. If y'all are ready for this, please help me welcome Samantha. Hello, Samantha.
Hello, Floyd. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for kicking us off with so much love and energy today.
Samantha, how was Mexico City? Because we just got back. We're putting our frequent flyer miles to the test this year.
We are. You and I are stepping off the plane together. I need a little more caffeine to match the energy here, I think. Mexico City was incredible. I say add it to your list, especially if you like to eat. Like my goal was to go there and just experience the culture and the food. And it was amazing and beautiful and so delicious.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Before I hand it over, I kind of alluded this to the beginning, but recently I saw a debate on LinkedIn, but this is like a debate that has been happening over and over again that talks about the usefulness of events and talking about, oh, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of energy on your staff. And I think the opposite. I think that there's a way that you could do it that makes it a waste, of course, but you can do the same thing for everything. But what's your take? Why, in your opinion, now more than ever, are events so important?
Community. People give to people. If we're not connecting to each other, if we're not in community together, if we don't feel connected to our missions that we love and care about, we're not giving. And during the pandemic, we saw giving like hit this high immediately out of emergency and then decline. It is time to be back in person, back together, back in community, creating community, connecting to each other. It's more important now than ever.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, y'all. Well, before I hand it over to Samantha, I want to hear from you all. Put it in the chat. I want to see a number from 1 to 4. How confident are you about running your fundraising events? Is it 1, I've never organized an event before. Like, what's an event? I'm on this. I'm in on this is it. 2, I have events experience but need a lot of help. 3, I feel good but would like more guidance. Or 4, you got this in the bag. You need to come on here. We're going to spotlight you and you're going to be teaching. You're going to be teaching us, okay? What number are y'all at? I want to see it in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of 3s, 2s, 2.5, 1. Someone said 0. Child, it's okay. We're going to get there. All right. Well, Samantha, will you bring us home? Will you help the folks out and help us on the next level?
I will. It is my mission. It is my passion. It is my desire to help organizations make the most out of their events. Some things that you may or may not know about events, and a little bit about me. So events are the #1 way that we bring people together, and all social justice organization movements, all religious movements are based in gathering. So if you don't think that your mission is impacted by gathering, you are missing a giant opportunity. We launched and started Swaim Strategies 20 years ago because we really wanted to help people make the most of their events, do more with events. But then we recently looked to the fact that we have so many people that are new in the nonprofit sector. Events are something that have had a long history that we wanted to bring our education and resources to the table. So we launched Elevate, which is a nonprofit learning platform, elevatenonprofit.com, where you can get all sorts of information, free downloads, our podcast that you were on, Floyd, thank you for being a part of it, and all sorts of resources for you to download, tools, templates, so including our book. So we want to be sure that you know about Elevate, that you can connect to us. We are always here to help you. But let's kick off and talk a little bit about events now. What's going on in the event world? There are some key fundamentals that are the same, which is when we gather, we connect, we build community, we feel an emotional depth of connection to the mission, to the work, and we create some shared language. So the fundamentals are still the same, but let's level set a little bit about why we gather. What are the impacts of gathering? Ultimately, it's so that we can have a shared experience together. We can create a relationship to each other, and we can have some shared language about our mission, our connection, and our relationships together. I mean, how many times have you heard that it is one of those big struggles of how much time and energy we put into events? It is true. We put so much time and energy into events, I want to talk to you today about a couple of key things that'll help you to make sure that you're focusing your time and energy on the right things that are going to bring you the biggest impact. We're going to dive into 6 key areas. We're going to talk about your budget. We're going to talk about how to simplify your logistics, how to dive into your story, how to have an active, engaged fundraising, how to leverage technology, and also how to use automation and AI. So let's dive into it. A little bit about what's most important now in fundraising events: connection and community, more than ever. To Floyd's question, why, and the LinkedIn debate, and should we have events? The answer is connection and community. It's so important for us to be able to be in relationship to each other. But let's level set. Things changed. We have learned so much during the pandemic. Technology, there are new tools out there for us, but also we have new values and we have new needs. Our attention spans have gotten shorter. So, how many of us have heard from our committees or boards, but we've always done it that way? And the expectation is established based on something that happened 20 years ago. Now is the time to level set and to rethink how we gather, why we gather, the impact of our gatherings and our events. So let's start at the very basics. This is from Susan Howlett, a researcher at University of Washington, who has been diving deep for years into why people give and what motivates people to give. And she has tapped into 3 key essentials. And the best part about this is that we can make sure all 3 of these things show up in events. So the first reason that motivates people to give is to be a part of something, to be invested, engaged in community together. The second thing is to be known, to be recognized, to be seen, to be celebrated as a part of that community. And finally, the third is the mission or the impact or the difference. So let's pause for a second and just reflect on the last couple of minutes that we've had together. Floyd kicked it off right. He kicked it off as an event. How many of you think that there was a vibe? Drop into this chat, yes, if you think that there was a vibe when we joined in. Great. Now, how many of you felt seen? How many of you said yes and your name got called out? Jim, thank you. Carrie, thank you. Elizabeth, Nikki, Jody, Beth, this is amazing. If you felt seen, yes. And then finally, how many of you understand what Givebutter is here to do to support you? If you feel like Givebutter is here to support you, drop yes in the chat. You just touched on and nailed on the simplicity of a great event, all 3 of those things, right? We felt a good vibe. We felt connected. We feel like we're a part of something. We feel seen, and we feel like Givebutter is here to make a difference or an impact. So right off the bat, Floyd has just kicked us off with an awesome event, and that is what you need to infuse into your event. So how do we do that? Well, a couple of things have changed. I think that the gala format used to be a format that was hard to attain. It was hard to get access to. It required a lot of money, and people have been diving deep into how do we ungala the gala? How do we dive into other ways of gathering people? This is an example of a recent event we had where folks were featured theater style. They were able to get really focused on the program, and then they were able to dive into after the program, the socializing, the connection, the relationships with each other. So a little bit has changed in the fact that we're gathering a little bit differently, but also we're starting to understand the importance of the connection, of the community, of being in relationship to each other. So let's dive into number 1, budget. There are a few key things that are going to impact you when you're starting to think about your event. The very first thing I want you to do is I want you to design your event with a purpose in mind. If you do not have a purpose for your event, if your answer and your purpose is we need to do an event because we've always done an event, or we need to do an event because we need to raise money, you're missing the fact that by gathering people together, you have an opportunity to move your mission, to connect people to your mission. So if you're gathering 300 people in a room together, what is the goal or the outcome you want to see? Once you've established that purpose, once you know why you're gathering people, now you can make decisions about your budget. Now you can start to inform things like, how do we design the event to include that? How do we design the event to be thinking about ways that we bring people together and connect them? This particular event was an event where their goal was to celebrate and highlight the awesome work of their community and of their staff that's doing the hard work in protecting people in DV situations. NPV can be a very heavy topic, and they really wanted to make sure that everything that they did at the event was to shine a bright light on focus and celebrate the hard work and the team that does the work every day. So the theme was shine. Every element of the event was shine, and they were able to make some decisions about the design of their event with that purpose in mind. Well, let's take a look at some of those budget cost implications that will be informed. There are a few things that have changed. Food costs have gone up expeditiously in the past couple of years. We've seen in the past 3 years an increase of approximately 130% in food costs. So now when we used to budget about $100 a plate for a big gala, we're budgeting almost $130, $140 a plate. We also have seen increase in venue costs. Venues have gotten more expensive because a lot of venues closed during the pandemic. The competition is really high. And venues like hotels and convention centers are trying to make up for a loss of revenue in the past several years and now have adjusted by scaling higher in their costs. And finally, we've seen some of our vendors like florists, photographers, information like our rental companies start to really see some cost implications because some of the competition either went out of business or because the supply chain has changed. And so vendor costs have been impacted or implemented. These costs are costs of averages that have come through a couple of different things. We've seen the food costs are being reported in our economic journals. Right now, we're seeing that the Business Journal is reporting that food costs are going to continue to rise. This number, 130% in particular, comes from an average of the events that we produce. We at Swaim Strategies produce events all across the nation, so we've been calculating an average over the past couple of years. Now let's dive into some of the alternatives of how we're making budget decisions. Because food costs have gone up, one of the things we've discovered is labor is one of the cost implications. Therefore, we can reduce labor by having things like food stations instead of plated served food. Or one of my favorites, we've seen that family style food service where big platters come out and are passed around the table is a way to increase community and conversation at your event, but also a way to reduce labor and costs at your event. And finally, we're starting to see things like ticket prices go up for events or alternative ticket models, including things like sliding scale tickets or pay it forward tickets, where guests are able to buy a community ticket available for community members. The other thing we're seeing are alternative venues. This is a furniture bank, a furniture warehouse that offers furniture supplies to individuals who are leaving homelessness and moving into homes. And we know that furniture is a way that we can impact staying in your home. And so the Furniture Bank is working hard to help people understand that in the past couple of years, they have increased their services so much that they fill and empty their warehouse every day. With the purpose of helping people understand that they fill and empty the warehouse every day, they wanted their donors to understand what the size of their warehouse was and to understand what that would mean by physically being in the warehouse. So they hosted their gala in the warehouse. It was a cheaper option for them, and it also helped them design to the purpose of their audience understanding that they fill and empty this warehouse every day. So a couple of things about some spending. I think it's really easy for us to dive into spending on elements that don't connect us to mission. We will spend lots of money on decor items or lots of money on big effects and miss the fact that the opportunity we have is to connect people deeper to our mission. You can see here, this is a literary organization that designed their centerpieces to be books that people could take home with them so that they had something as a gift, something that they could talk about. A donor had recently donated her entire library, and they used those books as their centerpiece decor. So a couple of things to spend money on. First of all, you want a good technology. Givebutter, I recommend Givebutter. You want Givebutter. Givebutter is a tool that is free to you and is going to allow you things like an easy QR code, a thermometer that you can show on the screen. What better way for people to feel like they are seen, feel like they are connected, feel like they are a part of something than when that thermometer is collectively rising and their name shows up on the screen. That is a powerful way to move giving at your event. You also want to make sure that it allows for you to have really easy connection. If your guests are not able to participate or you're not able to do easy guest management, ticket sales, it's not a tool that's going to be working for you. But if you're able to use something like a QR code to scan, I think QR codes are having their heyday right now. If you can use that QR code to get people to give, or a text to give like Givebutter does, it's a very easy way for people to feel like they're a part of something. You also want to make sure that you have a fundraising host. There is no better use of money for your fundraising event than someone who knows how to raise money. So if you have not engaged an auctioneer or a fundraising host that specifically is a benefit auctioneer, someone who knows how to raise money, you are missing the opportunity to leverage the momentum in the room, the energy in the room, to create the vibe in the room for your fundraising, to make fundraising feel good and celebratory. Finally, you want to make sure you have really good sound. If you can't hear, if you can't understand what's happening in your program, why have an event? And you want to make sure that you are centering your theme in your decision choices, bringing people closer to the work that you do. Some things not to spend money on. It is not a good use of your money to spend $130,000 on a keynote speaker that may or may not have any relationship to your organization. It is not a good use of your money to be out at hotels and convention centers as your venue when they are double the cost of private venues or privately held venues. And props or decor, little things positioned on the stage or positioned as an entrance where it misses the opportunity to actually bring everyone in, and it's just a staging element that's not associated with your mission. You miss the opportunity to connect you to your mission. Here's an alternative example. This is an organization called Harper's Playground. They build inclusive playgrounds and they host their event in the playground. It's such an awesome way for people to be able to save money on their venue and also connect directly to their mission. All right, let's dive into what's in and what's out. So a couple of key things that are in.
Really quick, Samantha, before we keep going, I just want to spotlight one thing that you said because I thought it was so important, and then I'll jump out. Can you go back to the last slide? Because for anybody who was in our corporate sponsorship and partnership webinar, right? A lot of times we talk about, and one thing that I love that you mentioned, I'll go back to the theme of hosting that event in the furniture warehouse, right? So many of us are looking at the dollars and we're like, well, I want to get a corporate sponsor to come on board and give me a big sponsorship, or come on board and give me a big donation or whatever. This is another form of partnership, right? Every single thing we've been talking about during this webinar and every single thing that Samantha has touched on, it's all about how do you make everything be in alignment, right? How are you making sure that your event is mission-centered? How do you make sure that the people that you're bringing on your board are mission-centered, right? I always say alignment determines your assignment. So a perfect way to cut down costs, have your event be hosted at the offices or the spaces of people who are in alignment with your mission. What a better way for them to connect. What about the books on the table that you just gave an example of? Okay, great. Now, how about we connect with local authors and we can bring their books on our tables? So now, not only are you connected to other authors in your community, but now you get other authors visibility. You're giving them visibility, and you're getting them to be now connected to your cause, right? Don't just think about yourself. I always say if $1 is all you want, then $1 is all you are going to get. If $1 is all you want, then $1 is all you're going to get. But an event, the whole purpose and the whole intention of event is to gather people for your mission, to gather them to be about something grander than your mission. So don't put the only eyes on yourself, okay? That's all I'll say. Thank you.
Look at what Marcy just said too. Marcy, you are spot on. Donors are watching how their giving is spent.
Exactly.
If you are spending money on things that are not moving your mission forward or not creating an environment where people are learning about your work, your donors will say, why am I here giving if all of it is going to this big grand affair that doesn't connect me or raise money for the cause? People want you to be successful in your fundraising. Now, I see a lot of chat there about the bar. Let's talk about the bar for a second. The bar is something that I think is both compelling and also a challenge, right? If people consume too much, it can be very expensive and costly to have an open bar, and it can also actually take your fundraising. So I love the idea that is floated in the chat right now about things like consuming management of consumption. I'm sorry. Tickets for drinks is a great idea. Like Floyd just said, sponsorships, partnerships. How do you get something like your wine donated so that the wine is what's being served for free at your tables, but that is not how the bar is being managed. The bar can be available as a cash bar, and then you can have wine on the table from a wine sponsor, or a welcome drink is sponsored. What a great way for people to have their name out there. If you are opening your doors and a sponsor is offering them a cocktail as a welcome cocktail, their name can be on the cocktail, the name can be on the bar menu. So think about other creative ways to be able to offer people a great guest experience, but that doesn't take away from your bottom line. Okay, a couple things that are in and out. I'm going to touch on these quickly because I want to move into number 2, which is simplifying your logistics. So a couple of things about what's in. Right now, hybrid events are powerful. They're a way for us to ungala the gala and connect more people. Storytelling, there is no better way to move your mission forward. Good quality storytelling. If you don't know about it, the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference is the best conference out there to teach you about how to leverage storytelling for all your fundraising. You want shorter programs, lots of celebration, lots of good energy. Think about your costs so that you can think about things like alternative bar service or alternative meal services. So you're keeping those costs lower. Best way to spend or best way to raise money is not to spend it. You want to make sure that that money is going back into your mission. Think about alternatives, the post-event party. After people have had an experience together, folks definitely want to make sure that after that experience, they have a chance to connect to the guests. I don't think you need to have an after party at another location. You just need time in your program afterwards for people to connect to each other. Outdoor venues are very popular right now. The personalized connection to people is really important. And things like an online auction, you can use Givebutter for. Online auctions are very popular right now, including consignment. If you don't know about consignment, it's a way for you to pay a lower price for something and sell it for a higher price with no obligation until you've sold it. So a great way to be able to manage your time and resources. Things that are not popular right now, long events. No one wants to sit for 3 hours. Transactional giving is out. Things like games, silent auctions, activities. We want to connect people to mission and impact, especially as younger donors are attending. The millennial generation is most interested in impact. So giving in a paddle raise, a direct ask, an appeal is always going to be more popular than the games or the activities. So let's figure out how to best use your time. Simplify your logistics. You do not have to have a million little tiny details that you're wrangling. You want to focus on a couple of key things: a great program, a really easy connection to mission, and a great guest experience. Those are the key elements that you really want to make sure to focus on. If guests feel welcome, feel seen, feel connected, you don't have to have a bajillion types of ways to engage people. You just need people to feel connected. All right. Providing a lead manager at registration. How many times have you stood in line at an event or been behind the registration table and had a line? This is the easiest way to save your stress and save your money, is get rid of your lines. Here's how you're going to do it. You want one registration station for every 75 guests. You want to make sure there's enough registration stations. You want every registration station to be able to serve any guest. So you want an easy to use platform like Givebutter where you can look up the guest name and check them in, or even scan a QR code to check them in. You don't want guests to have to wait in line at one station, then find out, oh, they're at the wrong letter and they have to move to another station. Finally, you want to make sure that your volunteers are trained and friendly and feel connected. And then you want to make sure that you have a help station that is separate, that is for the person who knows the software the best to troubleshoot anything that is unexpected. That way, that doesn't hold up the line, and you can simply move folks to a help station to be able to check in or get answered or get questions answered, or even troubleshoot a seat for them. So get rid of your lines. Biggest stressor that you have at an event, get rid of your lines at registration. The second thing, you want to make sure that you stagger your vendor arrivals so that each vendor is able to set up their element without holding up another vendor. But then you want a central meeting time and check-in time for all of your volunteers that are running the event, so you don't have to train 20 different times. You want them all to show up at one time. So the day of the event is so easy for you. You train them once and now everyone knows exactly what to do. And finally, if you focus on connection and great guest experience from a sense of having time to connect to each other, having time to be in relationship to each other, you will check off all of the good things on your list. Clear signage, easy to participate, seated, focused program with yummy food. Those are some of the key elements that you want to make sure for folks to be able to participate easier. And finally, I highly recommend thinking about engaging your board as hosts, because when your board is there hosting, connecting to donors, involving donors, welcoming donors, they have a role, and your donors feel seen and connected. Now, there's a key statistic that comes from Susan Howlett's research that I want to flag as well. In her book, Boards on Fire, she highlights that when people are more connected, more involved, they give more. So an easy way to do that is to give your volunteers a bid paddle, because they're some of the most connected. They're there doing the hard work. Give them a way to participate. And second, you want to make sure that your board has a role, that they feel involved, that they feel invested, because they also will show up as some of your lead donors if they have a connection and a relationship to the work, to the event. All right, let's go into number 3, the importance of storytelling. I want to break this down in one really easy tool for you. When we tell really good stories, we are hardwired to learn through storytelling. We connect more, we invest more, we feel a more positive connection and relationship. And then we leave there and are able to repeat and share out what we learned. So if you want people leaving your event talking about the fact that they went to this amazing event, learned all this stuff about this organization, and you want them repeating your mission out into the world, you need good stories. So how do you do that? This is our model of an event arc. Every single event has the same shape, because when we come together and aren't sure how to participate. Then our participation goes up as we see how to participate, and then we start thinking about the next thing we have to do, and our engagement goes down. If we can lean into this natural event arc and have our program follow this arc, we can easily capture and motivate people to participate in a way that feels easy and natural to them instead of fighting it. So 1, seat your guests when you have your program starting. You don't want to fight against the socializing. The socializing is the priority of the community. You want to seat them and get them focused. It could be theater style, it could be over dinner, it could be during dinner service. Then you want to start with chapter 1, easy, welcome, connect people, make them feel seen, make them feel celebrated, make them feel a part of something. Chapter 2, you want to make sure that you can then talk about your work and your mission. I can't tell you the number of organizations I've gone to their events and I've left thinking, I don't know what they do. I have no idea who they are. We so often assume that our guests walk into a room knowing us, and that is not true. You're going to have new people who don't know who you are. So chapter 2 is all about who you are, the work of your organization. Don't give them a list of programs. Tell them a great story. We recommend that you do a show with a video element that shows your work in action, and a tell with a speaker like a CEO or board chair who can speak to the vision of the work. Then you're going to move into the fundraising. Do not wait till the end of your program to have fundraising. The fundraising is a priority for the event. Put that fundraising right there after you've shared the stories of your work. That's where your live auction would go. That's where a paddle raise would go. Your fundraising is a key part of the things that will help you to feel like it was a successful event. If you wait till the very end, when the energy is lower, it won't ever feel as good as if you do it at the height of the program. Number 4 is celebration. This is where you can put things like if you have a speaker, if you have your honorees, if you have a community member that is being honored, this is a great place to have all of the fun stuff. People will stick around for the fun stuff. And then finally, lots of love and gratitude as you sign out. This very simple art can design for you a 60-minute program that can be powerful, and it can move your fundraising and leave people talking about who you are and your work. When you try to kitchen sink your event and put everything into your event, it's never going to be as successful as if you focus on your stories. Finally, you want to make your fundraising a part of that story. You want the fundraising to feel like it is something that is in that overall narrative. You don't want it to be an add-on. In this particular case, you can see that this is a virtual broadcast hybrid event where the donors at home are able to participate equally in the giving as the donors in the room. And it allowed everyone to feel like they were a part of the giving. All right, let's dive into the psychology of the giving. This is the number one thing I want you to take away. If you do not do an active paddle raise, this is where I want you to think about how you can impact fundraising at your event. This is the number one way to do it. Paul Zak is a neuroscientist who identified that the quality of experience that people have directly ties into how easy is it to participate and how engaging is it to participate. And a paddle raise is the best way to do that. And I know, Karen, I see your note. I know that there are areas where it is not a thing. And yet, what we have discovered is that when organizations make it a thing at their event, it's a unique value proposition and it raises a ton of money and feels really great if it's done well. We have a podcast episode that's a deep dive into the paddle raise. If you haven't ever done one, I encourage you to think about it because it's a way that you can do all the things that Susan Howlett's research indicated. People can feel like they're a part of something. They can feel invested and they can also feel seen and recognized and that they're making a difference in their mission. All right, how can technology help us? Technology, we learned quickly through virtual events, is a way that we could start to do things like show a thermometer or recognize donors online. And man, that donor stewardship in real time is no joke. It impacts fundraising significantly. When we start to see the name show up on the screen, I have seen donors give over and over and over. Now, Givebutter has a QR code or a text to give option. If you scan that QR code and click donate, your name shows up on the screen. I have seen folks sitting in an event give again, and then give again to see their name show up on the screen. So donor stewardship in real time is a really powerful thing. Also, the hybrid event taught us that in a hybrid format, we have two audiences that we're talking to. We have an audience at home and we have an audience in the room. And if everyone is able to participate equally and give through something like a QR code, then everyone feels like they're a part of something. So, Grace, I see a little note about how to do a paddle raise. There is a podcast episode that is in this particular slide that if you want to drop that link to that podcast episode, folks can get a full deep dive how-to tutorial so that you can understand how to do a paddle raise. Finally, technology has given us a whole new level of access that I wanted to make sure that I highlight today because it's allowed us to do things like include multiple languages. It's allowed us to do things like include a broadcast element, reach bigger audiences, have folks tune in from anywhere, include ASL for people in the room and out of the room. So technology has really started to accelerate and advance. And one of the things that we've seen that has helped us in maximizing our fundraising events is AI technology. And there's a couple of key things that we can share for how to best maximize AI. But here's the best thing. Our technology partners are out there exploring AI and utilizing AI. So lean into your technology partners like Givebutter and understand how best to leverage AI because that is something that is happening and is accelerating what's possible. But here are the things I want to encourage you to think about that you could use AI for. One, recognition. You want to make sure that as soon as a donor buys a ticket or makes a donation that they get recognized immediately. Your technology platform should do this for you. Second, if you're writing auction descriptions and you're using an auction platform, there's now AI technology to take all the information you've input and write it into a beautiful, sellable, merchandised auction description. Thank you letters. As soon as a donation comes in, a thank you letter that can go out. Invoicing should be automated and easy. In fact, there's a couple of new tools like Slide Broadcast and Rallycore where you can actually text donors or even just drop a voicemail thank you into their into their voicemail without actually even getting them on the phone. You could record a thank you and send it to all of your donors. So automation is an awesome tool for you to be thinking about little ways. You want to be sure that you're using AI ethically and you're being really smart about how to use it, but little ways to maximize your time. So in the end, all of the hard work you've put into your event doesn't get lost after the event, and that you include ways that you can thank donors easily, get them invoices easily, give them lots of love and gratitude easily, because sometimes the best time to raise money is after your event. I've covered a lot of things here today, Floyd. I want to leave lots of time for questions, but I have a couple of resources on elevatenonprofit.com. If you want to go in and find downloadable tools, templates, resources, podcasts, webinar, there is so much information here. I want to encourage folks to take a look at it and connect with me via LinkedIn. I am always happy to help you troubleshoot, answer questions. We can consult with you as well, but we want to help you make sure that your event is maximizing your time and energy and your results. So let's dive into the Q&A. I know that there's lots of questions out there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it back over to Floyd to let me know what questions you see in the chat. Maybe not. Floyd, are you there? Maybe we lost Floyd.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm just trying to add my spotlight back. Okay, here we go.
Welcome back, Floyd.
Okay, before we get into the Q&A, can we just get a round of applause to Samantha? I want to see it in the chat. And while you're showing Samantha some love, I'm going to pick a winner of our virtual, of our giveaway for Elevate. All right, the results are in from Grace. Okay, here we go. All right, so the winner for the free ticket to Elevate 2025, because not only are we going to innovate your events, but we're going to elevate your life in 2025. Okay, come on, somebody. Is Vicky Aslin. Vicky Aslin.
Vicky.
If you are in the chat, give a shout out to Vicky Aslin. How should they win? How should Vicky claim it, Samantha?
Oh, we will send Vicky information. So Vicky, you will get an email from us. Grace is going to get us connected. Beautiful. And you will get all your registration details.
Yes, I love it. Okay, congrats, Vicky. All right, let's get into these questions because, child, one thing about Givebutter is that we're going to ask you a question. All right. All right, so I've seen a lot of questions about timing, and someone asked a question about when is the best time to serve dinner? Is it chapter 2, chapter 3 of the event arc? When is the best time to actually serve the dinner?
Throughout the whole event arc. So typically we will have guests sit down to something already on the table, like their salad. And then as the program begins, we're continuing dinner service. We do not pause for dinner service. We all have been sitting at home doing Netflix and chill for long enough. We know how to eat and pay attention. In fact, we will pay more attention while we're eating. We just ask our servers to move quietly through the room. And when the fundraising is happening, we pull them off the floor for a few minutes during the fundraising, and then they come back. So program, dinner happening at the same time.
Got it. And in the same vein of the timing, I know the program component was supposed to be 60 minutes, but is the whole event supposed to be 60 minutes, or how long is the event supposed to be?
I think we're seeing folks peter out about 2.5 to 3 hours in, meaning they're heading home, they're thinking about their next thing. So we usually have about an hour reception ahead of time. And if you have something like a buffet, I see a question from Karen about a buffet. We do not recommend that you just open the buffet and everyone stands in line. Instead, do food stations throughout your event, and during your reception have food, and after you can have food. The buffet stand in line is so 1990. You don't want to do that again. It's a boring use of people's time. But an hour reception, an hour seated program, an hour afterwards for connecting and socializing, that is like the magic right now.
I love that. There's a lot of questions about the different types. So can you talk to people about the difference between an online auction and a silent auction?
Yeah, absolutely. So 3 types of auction. Live auction is active, engaged in the event, happening in front of everyone. People are using paddles and raising them. That's the auction that's going to raise the most. We see about 110, 120% return on a live auction, meaning if it's valued at $1,000, I'm probably going to sell it for about $1,200. An online auction is the next highest form of engagement. An online auction, you're selling everything online, similar to shopping on Amazon. You're using a platform like Givebutter where you can upload all of your tools, all of your packages, all of your descriptions, all your photos. launch it for a limited time. I recommend 5 to 7 days. It gets tedious and long if it's beyond that, because you get notified every time you get outbid and you lose bidding after a couple of days. But that online auction usually yields closer to 85% of value, which that type of engagement is so easy because it's not in competition with your event, and you can actually have it totally separate from your event. It also reaches a giant audience, a much bigger audience. And then the silent auction is like, again, very 1990. It's the thing that you see where tables and tables and tables of auction packages on display that you can bid on little sheets of paper. And the problem with the silent auction, it only yields about 40%. So that $1,000 package just brought me $400. And it's because it's in direct competition with the socializing, and it also is expensive to produce because you need a lot of space for a silent auction. It isn't something that we're seeing very effective right now, and in fact it's very sort of not in trend across the country. We've seen them slowly dropping away because of the fact that the revenue from them is so low, and yet the time and attention they take to produce is so high.
Let's talk a little bit about board engagement. First of all, that was like a great breakdown of auctions. I was remembering, I was like, oh, that's good. So thank you for that. Let's talk about board engagement. So there's a couple questions. One of them in particular, our board co-hosts and other donors/leadership have expressed discomfort with paddle raises, despite them being successful. How can we make them feel less pressured and awkward for attendees and their guests? And it seems like this is more about donor engagement at large too. So talk to me about that.
So I think the key thing is that folks need to feel good and feel celebrated. So if you have a board member who feels really uncomfortable about a paddle raise, one of the questions I often ask them is what makes them feel uncomfortable, and how are the ways that they would like to be recognized for their giving? If it's clear how they want to be recognized, it's sometimes easier to meet them where they're at. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you've put together something that feels really good and really celebratory. And that's why engaging a professional benefit fundraising host, it's different than a cattle auctioneer. A cattle auctioneer is going to make it feel awkward and uncomfortable in a sales push. You want a professional benefit fundraising host that, like Floyd, is driving energy and momentum and creating a vibe and celebration and making the giving feel really good. Having that person on stage is the thing that can often make it or break it. And then I always ask that our board plays a role in an event, because if the board is at all uncomfortable with social interaction, doesn't necessarily know what to do or what their job is, give them a role of playing host. Give them a couple of key people that they're connecting to, that they're in relationship to. So their primary focus isn't necessarily that they're concerned just on how is the money being raised and where, but they're building relationships for you. They're facilitating relationships.
And somebody else asked a question about, what is the best way to engage a non-existent board, pretty much. And I think that this is great what Samantha just said. Remember, people, just because they're volunteering on your board doesn't mean that they know how to fundraise, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're very different things. And also, if you're only thinking about the transaction, fundraising is a very intimidating thing, right? Like, if you're not a salesperson, for example, and you're only thinking about transaction, it's going to feel intimidating. That's why I love that this entire conversation focused on community and mission, because now you're going from transaction to transformation, right?
Yes.
You're inviting them into your community. You're asking them to partner with you on a greater level. And I believe that if they're on your board, they have an easier time doing that than they do saying, let me ask for a bunch of money, right?
Yeah.
So ways like being a host, someone being a greeter at the door, someone welcoming people to the table, all these different things are entry points that get them to that next level. I love it.
But I want to put a little plug in. Susan Howlett is an amazing researcher, and we love talking to her about boards, because Boards on Fire is her book. Great book, short book with very easy ways to engage your board. But on the Fundraising Elevator podcast, we did an episode with her specifically about how to engage your board in your event, and she just brings some incredible examples to the table that are so easy. So there's a great resource there if folks have a board they're trying to figure out how to engage.
I love that. Talk about location. So what if the organization isn't necessarily location based, or if they're international, like one organization is an adoption agency? What are some ideas for a location that they could have their event at, because they might not have something as tangible as a furniture store?
Yeah. Well, you know, what's funny is that the hybrid event has totally transformed what's possible for organizations like that. I have seen there's a couple of different models that we've seen with hybrid events. One, we have an organization that's doing an event in 2 weeks that they're located all across the country. They serve a gajillion different communities. They're not actually having a location. They're going to be in studio with just their broadcast team, and it's all online. So there's one easy way that their donors are going to tap in virtually. The second thing is we have another organization the same day actually that is going to have an event where they have 3 locations in their biggest donor population, and they're tying those events together in a hybrid format. So if you don't have a particular city to be in, but the other thing is if you're looking for like a ballroom space that's different than a hotel or convention center, there's a lot of private ballrooms that I would recommend, a lot of restaurants with big gathering spaces that you could take a look at. And like you said, Floyd, businesses, look to businesses. So many universities and businesses have gathering spaces that they use for their staff that you could use for your event.
I love that. Woo, there are so many great questions in here. Grace or Claudia, if one of you could take a screenshot of these, I would love that. And so maybe Samantha can answer them on her own time, and we'll share them with you all in the Givebutter fam. So make sure you join the Givebutter fam. But y'all, can you give one more round of applause to Samantha? Show some love in the chat. Samantha, this was incredible.
Well, thank you for having me. It was fun to be here. And I know there are so many questions I've seen pop up that are unanswered. Please reach out. I am happy to troubleshoot with folks anytime. Connect with me via LinkedIn. Easy way to get a hold of each other.
You are the absolute best. Thank you so much, Samantha. All right, y'all, we are going to wrap this time up today. But y'all, if you haven't done so already, please remember that we have more webinars up and going. So register for our webinars and office hours. Okay, it's going down with our office hours. Y'all remember Claudia, okay? Not only does Claudia give you Academy, but she's also in the office hours. Come on, somebody. So check those out. Fill out our webinar feedback survey. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, join our Facebook fam. Y'all, if nobody has told you today, I am rooting for you. I celebrate you, and I love you, okay? I love your missions. I love your passion. I love what you're doing, and I am on your side, okay? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making this great. Now go and continue and change the world.